I had a type. They had to be 6'1", muscles, high yellow
6'2",
fellas.
220 muscles.
Yeah.
And run a 4.40.
They began to give me headaches. They gave me so much hell.
What's up, YouTube? Portman Podcast back with another video. Today's video is have your standards in men changed as you gotten older. Before I get into the video, though, got to do the YouTube stuff. The goal is 75,000 subscribers by August. It's a crazy goal. It's a big goal, but it's my goal. I know the way I'm going to get to my goals if you give me the HBO special. Do you know what the HBO special is? That's the Help a Brother Out special, all right? So go on and help a brother out. Hit the like and the subscribe button for more content. I'm going to give y'all a second to do that. All right, now let's get to the video. Have your standards in men changed as you've gotten older? Let's see what they got to say.
We're going to get to this. I had to change up some of the things that I wanted or that was important to me in a man. I'm not going to lie. When I was in my 20s and 30s, there were certain things right out the gate, if they said, I'm like, turn off. And they were superficial things.
Exactly.
I'm not going to lie.
You have to forget about having a type. Well, standards and types are two different things. But for me personally, I had a type. They had to be 6'1", muscles, high yellow
6'2",
fellas.
220 muscles.
Yeah.
And run a 4.40.
They began to give me headaches. They gave me so much hell that I said, you know what? I want an ugly dude. I don't care anymore. Give me an ugly one.
The ugly dude
came. They
I tried an ugly dude.
I didn't have to go that far. God spared me. I got a nice one, and he's still easy on the eyes. But
it's tough though, because if you you try to call yourself being deep, you're like, oh, I'm gonna look below the skin, so you know, whatever.
And this is what I talk about when I say being very selective and a small amount of men having a lot of the sexual opportunities, especially in the early to mid 20s. In this particular example, she's talking about a man that's over 6 foot. We hear this all the time, okay? We hear this all the time over here, and we know of these concepts. It's always refreshing when you have women actually admitting to it because it makes you feel a little less crazy when you see it in person. But we're talking about 14% of Americans, okay? 14% of American men are 6 feet or taller. 14%. That's including white, black, Asian, Hispanic, whatever. If we're talking about just the black community in particular, well, we only make up 13% of America. So if you cut that in half for the men, we're at about 6.5. All right. Now you're trying to date the top 14% in the 6.5. All right. In the 6.5 of black men, you're trying to date the 14% of those black men that are tall and potentially have an athletic build. Just because they're tall doesn't even mean that they have an athletic build. Some dudes are just big and tall. You get what I'm saying? So you're really, really allowing yourself to have a small pool of men and not that many opportunities. And you see this happen a lot of times throughout your 20s. A lot of women get ran down. A lot of women have a ton of sexual experiences. And we know from statistics that the more sexual experiences you have as a woman, the less likely your marriage is to last. Okay. And it's not just me making this up. I'll leave a link to the description, or a link to the statistics in the description if y'all want to see the studies that show that for women specifically, the more sexual partners you have before marriage, the less likely your marriage is to last. All right, so you're giving your body away and potentially even your womb in some cases. Some women get pregnant by these guys. And since these guys have so much sexual opportunity, they're not ready to settle down. But what we don't want to admit is women will try to trap these guys by having their child. They believe that being a baby mama is one step closer to being a wife. And a lot of times for men, that isn't the case. And sometimes those men grow to resent those women for bringing a child that was unwanted into the world. Now, we can act like this doesn't happen, but it's just the truth of the fact. It is what it is. We can act like we could try to live in this little fairyland where this stuff doesn't go on, but it happens. It's unfortunate, but it does happen. Let's continue the video, though.
But you like what you like. You like what you like.
Yeah.
You do like what you like.
Yourself,
yeah. So don't go doing something that you're gonna throw up every time.
The difference between types and standards. I want you to go deeper into that.
Okay.
I tell people that are single that say, girl, he's not my type, and I try to hook him up, and then I said, girl, your type don't fuck with you.
Right.
Your type that you like doesn't like you.
A lot of times.
Time out on that. Wait, I went on a date with somebody you hooked me up with. He was, you can fill it in.
I don't know.
He was
what?
Effing terrible.
Oh my God, he watches.
It was bad.
Okay.
We had a conversation.
There was someone that was interested in my friend, so
Okay.
he hit me about it. He's like, I want something like you and your man have.
Right.
And I thought that was nice.
No,
I hate that. I
Yes,
hate
they
that.
told me.
I'm gonna let you have it because it's
want
your show,
some-
but
No, no,
that's
no, no.
not how this story
No, that's what he
went.
told me. That he told me he wanted something
Okay.
like. So then, your type.
It's somebody that doesn't just talk to me also. Don't just talk about yourself for
Ooh,
30
okay.
minutes.
Yeah.
Just
Yeah.
Oh.
breathe. Like, hi. Like, it's time to go.
Yeah,
Like,
I had one that was really into himself.
It's too much. But yeah, types and standards. I don't have a type.
You
Not
don't.
no, I don't have a type. A physical type, I definitely don't have.
So a type, but you have a standard.
I have
Definitely.
standards. No, those are pretty low.
Thank you for keeping. Listen,
That's true.
She said
I
be
know, it's
honest.
bad.
She
It's
said be
bad.
honest.
Yeah.
You can
to
have
be
it.
honest.
Yeah.
Have
Can
it
you
your
can you
way.
speak on that? The
I
difference
feel
between
like
a type?
types, sometimes people look at it when you're like, oh, I have a type, that can be looked at as shallow. And, that's not really a nice characteristic. So I say don't put what you like on a back burner, but try to forget about having a type. But it is definitely okay to have standards because say your standard is your man, he can't have a criminal record, he can't, he has to make a certain amount of money. That's okay because if you're used to living
Why
a
is the
certain
criminals
way,
like so good in bed though?
because they're bad.
I heard on the street. It's not me. It's
I mean, that's just some people's standard. Like, if you want a man, if he has a record, he can't get a job, then that's going to mess with your financial standards.
I think
So,
a criminal on paperwork as long as it's not like a killing. You know what I mean? You ain't popping nobody.
a felony on this.
Wait,
That's cool.
I want people to hear what you just said. What did you just say?
I can't I always say I don't want to date a gang member because they're all in my families. I don't want a man that done killed somebody. I could deal with you being on paperwork as being like a felon or something like that. You know what I mean? But I do not want you coming home telling me how you just popped the nigga who owed you this.
So you want like a cute
couldn't.
felon, like a
No,
like felon, like
because I
he
don't
can-
even like pretty boys.
But no, I mean cute. I mean like something that's
Like
like,
on paper
not a
Like
serious.
yeah, so you could
just
talk
hustle
about it.
and
Like
trying to pay
yeah,
bills type.
you could talk about it. I just like.
Criminal life.
I want to, well, not that I want it because I have exactly what I want, and he kind of, he fit the description. I wanted a street man who wasn't a street nigga. Like, there's a difference to that.
You
too.
want to have a backbone. You want to feel safe when you with them,
And
but you don't want them catching cases everywhere you
I
go.
don't want nobody running up to us with a gun to us head. I just,
But that's what comes with that though.
that's why
Yeah.
I can't do no gang members.
But you like a little bit of an edge.
And I never, just a little bit.
So if a guy came up to you, right, that was like kind of like you perceive him as square, but he's a good guy, you're not gonna be interested, right? Would you go outside your type? Because guess what? If whoever's single, if you're dating a type, your guy is outside of that box. That makes you comfortable.
Well, the relationship that I am now in is actually half and half. I held off on it for 3 years because I was just thinking that it's just definitely not going to work. And we ended up just, dating other people and being friends and running to each other for our problems. And then here I am now with that person. Like I said, he's kind of like, the edge. He's like associated with the streets, but it's not the streets. And it's just, he's adjacent to the streets.
I don't get people's infatuation, like their obsession with the streets. And why does it seem like, especially in the black community in particular, it seems like you have to be a street guy to show that you can protect your family? You get where I'm going? Like, I don't see why. I don't get the obsession. All right, I just don't get why everybody wants to be a street. There is nothing there. All right, I've seen it. I've seen it happen plenty of times. And when you see it, you realize that's not something you want for anybody. You don't want nobody to be in those situations that street guys are in, because it's easy to turn up medium street guy or half street guy, half in, half out. It's easy to get him all the way in because he's associated with certain behaviors. All right, it's easy to see certain paths. You see a drug dealer flexing, having this and this and that, and you being kind of 1 foot in, 1 foot out, but seeing how easy he got it makes you want to jump into that. So you saying that you want a guy that's half in, half out is you in dangerous territory. You in dangerous territory. But there's a huge obsession with just this street. Like, he has to be there's a guy, and I know this is, some people ain't gonna get this, but this is just a little story. There's a guy, if anybody knows anything about rap, modern rap, okay, we're talking about the Chicago rappers. There's a guy named Lil Durk. And then there's another guy named Quando Rondo. Lil Durk, one of his friends named King Von, an artist that was signed by him, but a lifelong friend, got killed by another rapper, another rapper's friend, Quando Rondo's friend. Okay, so there's this endless kind of battle between these two street guys. Lil Durk has gotten to the point where he has ascended. He has songs with Drake. He's doing very good on the pop charts even, and crossed from rap to pop. He's doing great things for his family. After his friend got killed, after his friend King Von got killed by Quando Rondo's friend or associate, people in the African American community expected Lil Durk to go and kill the man who killed King Von. All right, now let me explain to y'all how Lil Durk is handling this situation. Lil Durk, being the guy that he is and seeing where and just understanding how you handle things when you at a certain level of money, what he's doing is every time Quando Rondo has a show, he's buying all the tickets to the show. All right, and what that means is the show gets canceled because no promoter wants a show that's going to get shot up or where people are going to be fighting because that affects the venue. All right, so his shows get canceled. So what he's doing is slowly bleeding out this artist that killed his friend. So, but instead of that, people would rather see him lower his standard to try to go and retaliate so he can just go to prison and lose everything that he's built. That makes no sense. All right, but there's always this infatuation with just crime and just, if you want it, you got to go and do it this way. That's not how you handle situations when you got a certain amount of money. All right, and when you're dealing with people that ain't got nothing to lose, you can't stoop down to their level. And that's for anybody out there that's trying to do something in life. When you got something to lose, you can't just be around people that ain't got nothing to lose, because they always gonna bring you down. I've seen it happen in athletics. I've seen it happen in the streets. I've seen it happen all over in different avenues of life. You just don't want that. But let's continue the video.
He got the respect from me, but he's not in it, and I just love that. Like, I have my type, which is non-smoker, non-drinking, about his family, and still,
But he's a
like,
street guy.
if I get out of pocket, he putting me in my place, because it's just so
If the
sexy.
status ain't hood, you ain't checking for him.
Speaking of checking for us, we have someone that wants to talk to us. We have Nika with a call for us. Nika, what's your question? No?
Nika?
We can't. All right, I think we lost the call. Do we have her back? All right, we don't have her. Oh, okay. So it seems like it's really complicated, and I'm like, okay, we like this, we don't like that. Imagine what the men are going through trying to figure us out.
I don't really think that they think about stuff like that, though. Then again, it's just like you really have to be, I don't know. You know, every guy is just real picky about who they date because they want the women to just be all about them or nothing, and that they want to have their cake and eat it too. So it's kind of like men aren't so worried about like how we feel, and I'm speaking outside of my other experiences. They really just don't care. It's literally like what they want, or that's just it. Like, seriously, like I've had relationships where I thought that the person was just going to be amazing, and it was just like, okay, this is not what you portrayed to be.
Selfish.
Yeah.
How do you feel about that?
Bingo. And this is what I'm talking about. This is probably where I'll end the video. I'll just give my final thoughts here. This is what when I say anecdotal evidence being the proof for what the general guy is the problem that we're having as general guys in terms of average guys being able to get with average women, because average women are trying to date men that are above them in terms of looks. They've overranked themselves. They believe all women are 10s. They put on the makeup, the fake hair, fake nails. They go out and they try to get these men. And these men don't treat them well sometimes, because sometimes these guys, you're talking about a 6'2" athletic build dude. He's going to have many options. All right, so he ain't going to put you on no pedestal like you want to be put up. He ain't going to treat you sometimes how you want to be treated because you're just disposable. You're another option, right? So they get with these guys, and then that's their idea of what every guy is like. All right, when if she would have went with a guy, a regular, everyday, average guy that's been trying to make it and potentially does make it, she would have been better off. The guy would have probably respected her more, because generally guys respect women. Most men respect women, okay? And in some cases, most men respect women more than they respect themselves, and that's what we call simps. All right, and there's a lot of those. There's plenty of those out in the world. So just the kind of general idea that sometimes women gather from anecdotal evidence because they like to speak about emotions, and they don't really care about the general facts. They just care about the general experience. All right. So it always has this weird effect, and it distorts a lot of times what you view as normal in the general population of men. I see all the time where you'll have women that are single mothers. They'll say, well, my DMs are full, but they're full of men that just want to have sex with me. And they conclude then that all men just want to have sex and they're just in it for sex. And they go and they tell their girlfriends and they tell their daughters and their nieces and whoever, all men just want sex because that's what they've gathered through their anecdotal evidence. But they're in a very specific situation that they've put themselves in. They're in a situation where men see that and they say, well, that means desperation. That means an easy catch. And we can act like the world isn't like that, but it is. All right. So since they believe that they're easy catch, they're going to be in it for the sex. They're not going to be in it for a long-term relationship because you already got a family. Okay. They don't want a pre-roll family. They just want a little good time. And so they get that, they gather that as the norm for average men or for most men across all walks of life. And that's just not true. It's just anecdotal evidence. But that's all I got to say about the clip. Till next time.